Hello there. Right, now then, I've got a new little project that I've got to get done, and I've had a request to do something a little bit different this time, and that is because it's going to be a picture of a building, which is basically a hotel abroad where someone that we know got married, and I've been asked to do this picture based upon that, which I don't do an awful lot of buildings, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge for me. And that's what I'm going to be having a go at doing. And what I've actually done is I've already sketched it out. If you can see on that there, I've already sketched out the actual detail in that picture there. Quite tricky, very tricky with all these lines coming in here, the perspective, etc. and stuff like that. Really odd, but I think I've done a pretty decent job there. And what I'm going to start doing in a moment is painting it with watercolour. Okay, that's one of my favourite mediums to use. And what I tend to use are these. Nice and cheap. Get them from the Works bookshop. Nothing fancy. Comes in tubes like that. You don't need to spend a lot of money, because it's what you do with this stuff rather than how much you pay for it to produce your picture. So I'm going to have a double that. Now the good thing about watercolour is that you hardly need any of it on your palette. Tiny little bit goes a long way. Okay, so that's one reason why I use it. It doesn't cost me so much then, does it? So I'm going to start off. I think I'm going to start off by doing the sky. So we'll see how we go with that, and then we're going to work into it on the rest of the building. But I'll just talk you through what I'm going to do with the sky first of all, so that you can see how I go about using the watercolour. Okay, so here we go. So I'm all set up now with my picture, my watercolours, and I've got the picture that I'm looking at first of all. And what I'm just going to start with is putting in the sky. And to begin with, I'm just going to be looking at roughly where that sky is coming in, and just very lightly just map out where I think it's going to go. So that's going to come down there. I think the whole quality of the blue will be a bit darker in a few minutes time once I've got the basic layout done. So I'm just roughly mapping out now where I think the cloud's going to go, with the sky showing. If you notice what I've done on the picture, I've got some little lines drawn here. That's going to be the final size of the picture. So it's going to be roughly something like that. I don't usually start with the background, but I thought I'd give it a go this time, just to see how we can do it. Now I think I need my blue to be a little bit deeper, so I'm going to add some of the ultramarine to this one here, just to make it a little bit darker in blue. That's looking a bit better. That's better. So we can get some darker blue on there. And it's what you're doing with the watercolour, you're painting with what they call a wash of colour. So you're just adding bits of water to that colour. That goes a little bit darker there, so we will make it a little bit darker. There we go, brilliant. And just going into it. It's quite nice when you're painting on top of the previous colour before it dries out, because you get quite a nice little effect. Coming up there, then it's going darker again down there. Notice I'm using quite a decent sized brush at the minute, because it's quite a big area just to block in. Got the tree there, a little bit there. and you're literally working with the tip of the brush. I'm going to put a little bit more darkness on here. That's it. I'm just letting that then go lighter as we go there. That's the way to do it. There we go. Now as for the clouds, obviously, well, I wouldn't say obviously actually, no. People just think of clouds as white. Well, it's not. There's very few parts of the cloud that's actually white, but what I'm just doing at the minute is I'm just putting a white wash onto there, like so. And you'll notice when you go over the blue, it just sort of smudges that outline a little bit there. I'm then going to put a tiny bit of black. I don't often use black. I'm going to put a tiny bit of black into my white to get the grey colour, but I'm also going to add a little bit of blue to it as well, because you're going to get that reflecting from the skies. So there we go. So we can then start blocking in where we've got the cloud going a little bit dark around there. So we do that first of all, and what you notice, or what you should notice that I'm doing in both situations, be it the sky or be it the cloud, is I've started with the lightest part, and then I'm going to start working into it with some darker. Now when you've got bits like that, it's leaving quite a dark outline, what you do is you just clean out your brush, and then you can work over the edges and blend it in, unless you want a sharp edge. But in the clouds there's not many where you've got such a sharp edge on there, so I'm just going to do that. Wash my brush out, always wipe the water off the brush, and then where there is a little bit of a sharp edge there, so I'm going to leave that on there, and then it goes really light and then dark again there. So we're starting to build up the general image. It gets quite dark down here, and there's also quite a strong blue coming into it, so I'll just get some straightforward blue and just put it on there. That's it. Wash my brush out, don't want to get too much on there, and just blend it in. So the whole secret of it really is to work on this before it all dries out. Got a little bit darker there, and then actually we get this nice bluey sort of effect there, which then goes a bit darker around there. So just working into that. And what I'm constantly doing is looking at the photograph, just so that I'm getting it right in a way, I suppose. A little bit dark around there, and then we can get a bit more blue around there. There's some in the middle there. Bit of water, smooth that off a little bit. That's it there. Get a little bit of blue in there as well. That's quite a, and a bit of black as well. There we go. So now that I've got that bit on there, darken up a little bit there. That's it there. Okay, looks like the blooming hotel's on fire, doesn't it? It wasn't. There we go. And then just going to use the blue again, just to define some of this edge a little bit more. Get some darker in there. That's it. There. So just working with that in little places there. That'll really give the clouds a bit of oomph. Just make things stand out just a touch. And it's how it goes. It fades away a little bit there, but I just want to. That's it there. Just do that bit in there, and then we can get this bit round here. Going around there, and we'll just oomph. Whoop, a bit darker, a bit more ultramarine. Go in there and spread that out more there. I'm actually going to take that over there. That's a tree that's going to be going over that side there, so I'm just going to put it over there a little bit, and then we can come down here. There we go. That makes that stand out a little bit better, and there's also a little bit in that we can put in there. So there you've seen how I've started it off, and you get a general idea as to how I use the watercolour paint. Very thin layers that you just gradually build up. I may come back to it later on. And the beauty is, even when this is dry, you can start working on it again. If I put water on this when it's dried out, it will go back to a liquid state, which is quite nice. That's better. A bit more blue in there, that makes that stand out a bit better there. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'll stop wittering, and I'll put the camera onto a bit of time lapse, so you can then see how I build up the overall picture as we go along. Okay. And whilst I'm doing it, I shall put a bit of music on. Obviously you won't be able to hear it because it's on time lapse, and it'll go if we're not careful, which we don't really want to happen. So we're going to put a few little tunes on, which will just help me concentrate. I'm going to listen to a bit of Badly Drawn Boy, which will probably shock some of my friends because they came with me, well, they were with me when he played, last saw him in 2011 at the Copredy Festival, and he was awful. He was shocking, but I do like his music, so I'm going to give it another listen. And I've heard he's coming to Blackpool, so you know, I might wobble along and see him. Anyway, here we go. Hello there. Now then, to say that I was a little bit pigged off the other day is a bit of an understatement, because there I was with my picture, tootling away, painting along quite nicely. Got up to the stage where I thought, right, time for a rest. Looked at my iPad, it had stopped recording. So the video you've just watched probably shows about a third of what I actually managed to do in that particular session, which is a little bit, but hey ho, these things happen. And I still want to carry on with it and film it so that you can see how I go about building up the picture. So what I'm going to do when I start the next video is just describe what I've done, because I've got up to that. Look at that. How much did I forget to video? Well, not forget, did I forget to check the videos? It was videoing. Anyway, that's where I'm up to at the minute. So when I start the next video, we'll have a little chat about what I've done, and then we'll carry on. And I'm going to keep watching blooming iPad to make sure it's actually filming what I'm doing. See you soon.